So we talked about, with state funding decreasing, alternative revenue streams like that. And so, two-part question, I guess. In the Commission on the Future, it was identified that indirect cost recovery could provide as much as like $300 million.
Yes.
So first part is like, is that feasible at all? And then the second part of that is, what do you think about, like the more high-powered degree granting programs, like the schools of businesses or the law schools? Are there ways to augment the revenue coming from those to support?
Well, if I could answer that, I think that $300 million is feasible, but it's not a one-year deal, and we don't control it. We have to negotiate with the feds and try to get higher rates. Then we have.
And what is that process like? How does that?
It's arcane. Who is it that controls our indirect costs?
Ours is the Health and Human Services. There's different controlling agencies
We
for
go to
every university.
Health and Human Services, that we go in with all our paperwork, and then they say, we get 54% or 52 or 60 or something. And we can show comparisons with East Coast institutions, but we're not being treated in our judgment as fairly as they are. So, it's a slow process. That's the problem with a lot of the stuff. We're doing the efficiency stuff, new IT systems and all, but it doesn't all kick in 30 days. It's a slow process. On the professional schools, they have been significantly cut loose to charge higher rates, and in a weird way, it does actually help the rest of the campuses, because typically then they receive less state money, and the state money then can go to the humanities and social sciences and all the rest. If they're more, if the tuition more closely approximate their actual expense. So we'll look at that. I mean, this is an area I don't like the word privatization. We're a public institution. Our business schools are public institutions, our law schools and engineering colleges and all the rest. So I want to be very careful about how we do this, but it is a source of revenue. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And if it's done right, it does help everyone, not just those colleges. You had a question over here.
As I understand it, the revenue streams have changed as far as where what used to be student registration fees and is now tuition goes. It used to go to UCOF, and then some of it would come back to the campuses. Generally, Berkeley used to like more than 100%, but now campuses are keeping all of their money and then paying a certain amount back to UCOF.
Right.
What's the formula to determine how much each campus pays?
It's a flat tax,
Okay.
and we haven't said it yet.
Okay.
I wanted to do government in the sunshine. We had weird ways of, that's a technical business term, of doing this. And the Office of the President might take 6% of this funding source and 3% of that, and it had weird distributional consequences. My basic philosophy is when a student pays tuition, the money stays on campus. When you earn indirect costs, the money stays on campus. Certainly the philanthropy stays on campus. And if you need to pay, we have an Office of the General Counsel. We have risk management. We flew the students out of Cairo. We have audits and compliance. We have, state relations in Sacramento and federal relations in Washington. So if there are common goods, we owe money for the operating expenses of the Keck telescope. We use Seacrest. We have the digital library. Saves the campuses a lot of money. If there's things we should do centrally, it should be budgeted, transparent, and then we can fight about it. Should the tax be 1.3%, 1.6, 1.2? What's in your budget? Should it be in your budget? And I think that'll help the students. I met with the presidents of the student bodies, is it all 10, at least 9, the campuses. I think it'll make your job, and certainly for the media, figuring out where we're actually putting our money a lot simpler when you're not fooling around with the formulas. When you're just saying, here's our budget, here's the tax to support it. Now let's have a discussion if you think there's something in our budget that shouldn't be there. But we don't have the exact level of the tax yet.
One other very beneficial element of it is previously, Office of the President, their largest source of funding was from state funds. So it was about $225 million. We're distributing all of that to campuses. And that is, as the President said, the most discretionary, most valuable source of revenue we have. And so that it's being distributed based on the general fund base and the historic formula.
Yeah, and we're looking at the historic formula too. Santa Cruz makes a case that they don't get what they should get, and it's called rebenching. And that's the next project on my horizon, is to see if we can agree on how the money, what criteria should be for the money that's being redistributed. Your chancellor's been a very strong advocate of changing the formula, and it is sort of a mess. No one really understands it. It's just a historical thing. So we're going to have to figure that out. But obviously there'll be winners and losers, so we have to be very careful about that. But everyone is special.